Okay, this is gameplay that I didn't record with my microphone. Instead, this is gameplay that I didn't record with my microphone. Okay, so I aim a lot better. I noticed that I won a lot of games more quicker without me talking, and I aim a lot more better. Well, not too much better, just somewhat better. But that's because of why I won the games more faster. And in this video, I'm gonna be talking more about like when it's okay to perfectly blame the game, blame Roblox, or blame the other player. And I'm going to be talking about near the end where it's perfectly reasonable to blame yourself and yeah, it is completely your fault. It is not the game's, the other player's fault, or Roblox's fault. So first off, we're gonna go with the game um, fault. So the game's fault is more of just generally the map or the weapons. Now it's not too much of the map, but the weapons and maps go hand in hand because if you have something like a firework launcher, that is more map dependent. Like in this map right here, this is very close quarters, and they can't really bounce around too much. They can't really fly away because the firework launcher sends the targets flying through the stratosphere. But since there's a lot of walls, it's very close quarters, it's tight, you can't really do that too much. So the firework launcher is actually really good on this map. But if it's more open space, the weapon is garbage. And the other prime example is when you have a very slow weapon, or yeah, just generally that. So say you have a minigun, you whip it out, you're going on a cool kill streak, but you whip out the minigun, it takes 5 seconds of rev up and you die. That is the gameplay of the minigun, and that's what I notice sometimes. Like when I kill like 2 people in a row, and there was one more guy, I kill those 2 guys. I got the garbage minigun. I spin it up, and the guy I was about to kill just shoots me in the face with a trench shotgun. I was like, oh man, cool. If I had something normal that didn't take 3 seconds to rev up or use, like the Barrette, I would have won that easily. But unfortunately, I didn't. I was not able to do that. So that was super gamer moments. And that is really the only game's fault I can really think about. The other times is more of like just glitches, but I haven't really seen too many of those. Like when you bounce around with the characters. I think that's more of a Roblox problem. Now, the other thing where it's okay to blame the other thing is players. So there are 2 types of players that are really blamable in the game of Roblox, really, because it really just occurs on Roblox. Well, pretty much any game, really. It's going to be laggy players and hackers. Hackers is also a Roblox problem, though. But let's go on and talk about the laggy players. So laggy players, I'm like, this happens in all games. There's not really a way to counter them besides like adding like some sort of ping limit, I guess. Like if you get 200 ping, you get kicked out of the game. I don't think Arsenal will add that. It might make a pretty good dent on the player base. Make the gameplay experience a lot more better for a lot of players. But that's a different topic, I guess. So, like players, how they ruin a game is they ruin a game in 3 ways. So the first one is gonna be where they literally teleport. They literally walk in place for 5 seconds and then they teleport away. You don't know where he went, and then bam, you got shot in the face by one. It's like, oh man, so cool. I could do absolutely nothing about that. I just saw him for a split second. He teleported behind me and he beat the crap out of me. What a fair game. The other way is when they kill you behind walls a lot, like when you take cover, when you do some cool gamer tricks of like, going around a corner and running away. You get killed behind the walls, like, oh wow, what was the person doing that? I was better off just dying out in the front trying to kill him versus running away. Because sometimes you are actually better off going directly towards the laggy player and taking the chance, even though you have 5 health, but just taking the chance of killing him before he kills you behind the wall. You are better off doing that versus going behind a wall to take cover and then die by the laggy player. That is awesome game ruins. But that is also a bit of Roblox's problem, but it is mostly caused just by the player for having bad ping in the first place. And the last one is going to be, so we already talked about how they teleport and how they kill you behind walls. Now it's going to be how they do 100 damage with a slingshot because he sent multiple projectiles, multiple shots at once to the point where it's like 10,000 shots going at you and you get one-shotted. You get beamed. You get beamed by a laggy player. To be honest, it is not tryhards that I stress out about or that I have trouble dealing with. The problem is laggy players. Like they do beat me down, and it's very hard to counter them because they're not easy to counter. It's not very easy to counter a laggy player. it is very annoying. I'm like, there are a lot of times where they will just freeze and it's like, oh yeah, prime time to go and attack. But if they freeze and they teleport away, they will kill you. There's no doubt in that. And to be honest, I don't really have a lot of that in this game. As in like teleporting, I don't really see too much of that. It's just more of like dying behind walls, and that's just something that you gotta live with in the game. Like, yes, you can blame the player in the game and in Roblox itself. That is definitely not your fault. That is definitely not under your control. But I'm like, we can't really blame Roll Otter for this. It's just more of Roblox on how they handle the lag thing. Okay, next one is going to be where it's pretty much your fault. It's pretty much your fault. Oh, wait, Psych. Let me take a step back. Hackers. Yes, hackers. They're a good topic, right? So this is not really Roll's fault. I wouldn't really put the blame on the devs because I honestly never roasted the devs for not making like a good anti-cheat or hiring more mods or not giving me mod or some stupid claim like that. Because I'm like, in the end, Roll or pretty much any dev on Roblox, they can't really make too much of a good anti-cheat. There's always going to be aimbot. There's always going to be wall hackers. You can't really counter that too much. I'm like, hell, there's even Battlefield 4 games where they have aimbotters, and there's not really a lot you can do to counter them. I'm like, they do have anti-cheats, but they're just really garbage, and they take time to work. Versus in here, I don't think there is a very good one or one at all in the first place. And I'm like, I don't blame them. I'm like, making an anti-cheat is very time consuming. Let's say it takes about 20 hours to make that. They could have made so much new content for Arsenal, but instead they wasted it on trying to patch hackers. And the reason why I say wasted is because usually the original people who made the script, who made the aimbot and stuff like that, will find a way around it, and they usually find ways around it within less than a day. So 20 hours of time wasted by a guy who took, I don't know, probably 2 to 3 hours of his life to go ahead and try to reroute it, try find a way to loop it, and they did. And congratulations, the devs need to completely do the 20-hour process and repeat that crap. So that's pretty much why I never really complained too much about to the devs like trying to fix hacks, because it's just not really possible. It is perfectly the player's fault though. The other issue now I would talk about is player's fault, not knowing how the game works. So wait, there are 3 things that are making it your fault. Your fault, yes, you. One is going to be you have garbage aim. The second one is going to be your computer or your ping or your phone. And the third one is going to be you don't know how the game works, or you could have known how the game would have worked better. So the first one is aim. This goes hand in hand with second place being garbage computer and garbage ping. Because if you have a garbage computer and a garbage ping, chances are you're not really going to aim too well on that. So if your computer gets like 20 frames per second, and I have seen players play Arsenal unironically with 20 frames a second, and honestly, it is hard to do that. It is not easy to do that. It is extremely hard to do that. And if you have bad frames per second and bad ping, chances are you're not going to be able to aim very well. And if you do have a good computer, it's just a matter of aiming, mouse pad and stuff like that. So, I guess the tip on that is just generally like play the game more, and over time you will get better. It just takes time. You won't see a direct improvement over the day, maybe over the week. But just try and play the game more, I guess, is really all I can say really about that. And the last point is going to be not knowing how the game works. So basically, like certain weapons, they can double jump with it, or like how the spawn points work, or how the maps work, or knowing what weapon you have as soon as you whip it out. Now, knowing what weapon you have is very crucial if you whip it out. Like, I knew that I had the AK despite me whipping it out for 2 seconds, and it just didn't matter at all because I did a stupid knife combo / gun combo. I do it after speed boost, but sometimes it kills you because you do moments like that where you take out the time to take out the weapon and die. So that's always cool to see. Now, not knowing how the game works. So If you didn't know that, you could double jump with certain weapons, or one shot in the head with certain weapons, or just like, hey man, this weapon one shots on the body, no need to go for the head, or just stuff like that, really. And the other thing is going to be spawn points and how the map works. So some maps they're just long, and they will lead to a generally just longer gameplay, and like you can't really get kills too fast because of how big the map is. And the other thing is like how the spawn points work. So if you're in a close quarters map and you know how the spawn points work, you can literally spawn kill and like beat the crap out of players because you know the spawns very well. If you know how the spawns work, you can aim well, you are gonna do extremely good in this game because you can so you can either memorize the spawns, or you can listen to the spawning sounds, or like gunshots in general. So if you hear gunshots, you can go ahead and go to that general location, see where they're at, and then start killing, assuming if they don't see you. If you memorize the spawns, you could do some pretty cool gamer moves, like send a rocket launcher around the corner and then blow up somebody, even though you never saw him, because you know that the spawn point is right there, and now you're just making a guess like, there might be a guy around this corner, so I'm just gonna shoot this rocket, and then bam, you get 2 kills, 1 kill, 3 kill, whatever it might be, and that is pro gamer moves right there, and that is knowing how the game works. And those spawn things, they take time to learn. You can't really like, watch a video and then try like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and memorize that. It's just more of like playing the game yourself, because spawn points, they can change randomly. And to be honest, I learned the spawn points just like by playing the game. That's literally what I did, was just playing the game and trying to spawn kill. That's how I learned the spawn points, really. The other thing is like being sure to not spam away on certain weapons. Like the Tech 9 right here, this is garbage. It has really bad spread, so you're just better off spamming it. But for certain weapons that have a high spread, but it is actually controllable, it is better to shoot it slowly versus spamming it. And I know that's pretty hard to do. Like, you just want to spam away and try to kill them as fast as possible. But in some cases, you want to actually take your time to aim and not spam away. Because if you spam away, chances are you will miss the target because you spammed away. So don't do that. Just I know it's very tempting to spam away, but don't do that at longer ranges. At close range, I'm like, sure, why not? I'm like, it's close range. Who cares? I'm like, you're better off actually spamming compared to trying to wait for the spread to go back to 0. You are better off spamming at close range compared to at long range. And the other thing, I guess, is more of like knowing how to use the Golden Knife. So Golden Knife, it is an extremely hard weapon to use if you don't know how to use it properly. There are 3 ways to really use this. One is waiting for a teammate to put a guy on low health, and then you stab that dude, and then congratulations, you won the game because you stabbed the guy with low health. 2, you camp in a spot right above the map, or like, a good spot like, a rooftop, around a corner, just generally things like that. And the other way is kind of dumb, but you literally walk up to a bad player and you just knife him 3 times in a row, and then congratulations, you kill him, you win the game. That does work, but when you're playing with tryhards, they will tend to know that you are doing that and target you, and then prevent you from doing that. So keep that in mind. And that's generally all about I got to say. Hope you enjoyed the video.